And Derek, I started today by talking about the crossover season. We have one in November when basketball's starting. We've got one now with baseball and softball starting. And you're right in the heart of that, aren't you, this weekend?
Yeah, it's a busy time. It's a fun time, but got to make sure you stay on top of everything because there's always something zooming by the air traffic control tower, as you well know. But it's fun, when you got big basketball games, even when they don't go the way you want them, and baseball opening day, you can't complain about any of that.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk basketball first. The women and TCU last night, first place showdown. First, tell us, you were there. What was the atmosphere like? It seemed like it was really good with the gold out and a really good crowd.
Yeah, it was. And obviously that made it all the more disappointing that the team wasn't able to play the way they're capable because it was a great crowd. Over 5,000 people, loud, engaged. Obviously, a generous Baylor donor purchased the remaining upper deck seats to give them away for free, and people took advantage of that. The students showed up, Baylor fan experience. Everyone did a lot of fun things. It was a great environment. Obviously, the game didn't go the way we wanted to, but I hope people who were there last night will come back because there's still two big games that could help the team get to a Big 12 regular season title, and that kind of environment can go a long way to helping them get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the environment matched, the gravity of the game also. So that was cool to see in national TV on ESPN. Did you see, you were working, but did you see the magician or hear any reports on the magician for pregame?
Yeah, so I actually got to sit in. He did a little presentation for the team at their pregame meal. And I was there to interview Nikki, and I got to sit in and watch, and it was very impressive. We had our strength coach, Caleb Kruger, ended up with the magician told him to look under his watch, and there was a card under his watch that had somehow got there, and it matched the card that one of the players had picked from a deck. He had the players do this long math problem, and when he guessed the number correctly, it was 5 digits, and then when you flipped the number upside down, it said Sikkim. It was impressive. It was a great show. It was really good. I hope the students enjoyed them. I wish I could have seen more of them.
Yeah. Hey, that's pretty cool. And glad you and the team got a sneak preview during pregame yesterday.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. So a big build-up for the game, home court advantage for Baylor, but was it a case of just too much Olivia Miles? Is that making things too simple?
Miles and Suarez. TCU has been a team this year that a huge portion of their offense has been delivered by 3 players: Olivia Miles, Marta Suarez, and then Donovan Hunter, who had a quiet night last night offensively, but they didn't need him to. As a trio, they average about 48 points a game. Well, obviously, Miles and Suarez alone erupted for 67 career highs for both of them. And on the postgame interview, Nikki said they had a strategy that was working in the first half. They didn't want Miles to drive inside. She's a great facilitator. But when she got hot and got comfortable, they were too slow to adjust. And it was that stretch in the third quarter where they kind of stuck with it, in which TCU went from being up by 4 with about halfway through the third quarter to pushing near 20 at times, and of course eventually leading by over 20 at times. And it was just a case where she got hot and the defense allowed her just too much room as time went on. And then Nick even said in the post-game interview, she goes, "We could have withstood a big game from Miles, but not from her and Suarez." And obviously Suarez was great as well, which that was tough because normally the defense has been this team's strength all year. I think the defense is going to be what really determines how far they go, and had the number 1 3-point shooting defense in the nation, but TCU goes 15 of 29 from beyond the arc yesterday, so they flipped the script.
Yeah, that's the thing that stood out to me was I know how good that 3-point percentage defense was on a record pace, a national record pace. Mm-hmm. Then to give up 15 threes last night, you knew TCU was really hot there.
Yeah, and I think you look at it, they were still, as Nikki said, too slow to adjust. However, even so, I don't think you think that any player, no matter how good they are, is going to shoot with that kind of lights out. Olivia Miles is 10 of 20 from beyond the arc in the game. If she even goes 7 of 20, which is a very good 3-point shooting percentage, you're talking about a different game heading into the fourth quarter. But, credit her. She hit her shots and And our offense wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as it needed to be last night.
83-67 was the final. TCU over Baylor, and 40 by Miles, 27 by Suarez, as you mentioned, but 23 points in the third quarter.
Yes.
By Miles, 23 points. Have you ever, in one quarter, have you ever seen anything like that?
I've not seen, since I've been doing the women's games, not like that. I remember some games we've had here over the years. I remember, like when I was doing PA on the minimum, that game Makai Mason had when he hit 40, and there was one quarter where he just hit like 4 or 5 threes in a row, I feel like, or close to it. We saw some games where Brittany Griner, they just dumped it into her, every time, and she'd have some big quarters. But that reminded me of, I'll bring in my Indiana background. That reminded me of when I was in middle school watching Reggie Miller in the Garden. It was that kind of performance.
I knew you'd say that. I knew that was coming.
yeah, I knew you'd. I thought you could. I telegraphed it for you.
Yeah, no, I knew that was coming. But that's a great compliment. Unbelievable. Did they score how many points total in that quarter?
I believe it was 25. She had 23 of their 25, and Suarez had the other 2.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Does TCU, and that's 4 straight wins by the Frogs over Baylor now in women's basketball, do they have a little bit of a swagger when they come in now, now that the tide has turned a little bit?
It certainly feels like it right now. They have, obviously they flipped the script in that game in Fort Worth last year and then won 2 one-possession games. And obviously last night by more than that. I mean, right now, they have the edge in the rivalry, and Baylor's going to have a big chance to get it back in the final game of the regular season, and they're very capable of doing so. But you want that. You want to see Baylor get the swagger back. And really, I'll just say too, for everyone, thinking about the final 5 games of the regular season, last night was very disappointing. It makes it harder to get where you want to be in the Big 12 regular season title. But you've got 4 teams within a half game of each other now. West Virginia is a half game ahead of everyone else at 11-3. Then you got Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech all tied up at 10-3. Baylor plays at Tech and at TCU. You've got West Virginia and TCU this weekend. West Virginia has a couple of Texas Tech has us up there. So your goals are still right in front of you. It's a little bit harder to get. You could have put a little bit of a stranglehold on things, but you couldn't do that last night. But these final 5 games, all your goals are right there if you can take care of business.
Yeah, that's well said. And final thought on basketball, that's 5 games in 12 days for the women. So this is a tough closing stretch.
It is. And it reminds me a lot of last year. The women did a great job to make that final game against TCU for the Big 12 regular season title. Obviously, it went TCU's way. But, yeah, you've got this weekend, then at Lubbock. And then if you win those 2 games, your award is to play in a 48-hour span Arizona and Kansas State. And if you get through that, hopefully you can make that last game in Fort Worth a chance to go win a Big 12 regular season title.
Wow. Derek Smith, our guest, he's the voice of Baylor women's basketball and baseball. And the baseball season opener is today. Tell me how you feel. I feel a lot of excitement, a lot of positive vibes coming out of Magnolia Field at Baylor Ballpark.
Yeah, that's going to be fun for us to say this year. That's brought a lot of positive attention to the program. But, yeah, happy opening day to you and to everyone watching. It's always fun, and it is a good time for optimism. And I think, like you said, there's good reason for that. I feel like there's elements of this team that you can count on. There's 5 returning 300 hitters. You've got a pitching staff that even with some new players, you saw Sean Snedeker do such a great job last year lowering their ERA by 2 runs. If he could lower it by 2 runs again, that'd be fantastic. But even if it's just, kind of on par, pitching should keep you in games. And so I think the question for Baylor fans is you think, okay, Travis Sanders and Pearson Reebok, those are guys that are both back. They were big-time contributors last year. You got a couple of UTA transfers on the corner infield. Tice Armstrong, 11 home runs last year. And then Kate Dodson, who's just a scrappy ball player. He's the son of Jeremy Dodson, who played here from 96 to 98. That's what your infield looks like. And then as you look at the outfield, I think there's a lot of intrigue there. You've got Ty Johnson back for his 5th year, but you got some young guys, and they're going to take their lumps. But the question is that how quickly can they learn from them? Brady Janusek is a freshman you'll see in the outfield who has tremendous power. He's 6'4", about 200 pounds, and apparently he can miss hit balls over the wall at Baylor Ballpark, which at the Magnolia Field at Baylor Ballpark, which is not an easy thing to do. That is not a home run haven. Bo Caraway, who's led the state of Texas in stolen bases. He's a little guy, about 5'10", 150, and he can run to first base in under 3.7 seconds. And if he can get on base, he's going to put pressure on teams. And so I think what's going to be fun with all that is watching some of these young guys develop. And as the veterans produce like they're capable, you could bide some time as the young guys figure it out. And then I think as you get into Big 12, the hope would be that they're finding their way. This is a team that won 33 games last year but missed the tournament. Could they win around that, but win the games that really matter in Big 12 play to get to the tournament again? And I don't know, but I think it's exciting. I think the capability is right there, and it's going to be kind of fun to see that come together.
Yeah, very cool. Well, it all starts today, and we'll see you out there. Good luck in the heart of your crossover season. And understand when I say this, I mean it in the best way. I hope it's a long crossover season because I hope the women are playing for a long time in March. Yeah,
me too. I hope we are navigating schedules quite a bit here between now and early April. That'd be a lot of fun.
Great. Hey, great to have you on with us. We'll see you at the ballpark.
See you there, John. It's good to have your voice back talking Baylor in this format. It's great to congrats on the launch of the show here recently. It's good to hear you and Jerry and Hoot, and glad to be on with you.
Very nice. Thanks for saying that.